Now, tell me
Now.
exactly when point A is in front of point B. Now! Now!
Hello,
Hello?
hello, what's up, bro?
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With Nery signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
With Missy.
Just let me finish my thought before you fucking interrupt me. Wrong room to ask questions.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. Your favorite podcast where you come to listen to people talking, debating, cut each other off, and get each other mad over some shit. I have Nery signs.
We're friends, I promise.
We're friends.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that part? That's because you're the one cutting people off. I am Nery signs. With me as usual. That was Mike cutting me off while I was trying to do the intro. Mike, say hi.
No.
Missy. We have
Hello.
Missy, and we have back Steph Mayer Senior.
Yes. Friendship. Hey.
Friendship. Yeah.
See, I'm in this deep, dark cave today.
It's not that dark, honey. I got to be honest with you. The lighting in the back is just. You just have it's just facing your computer's facing the wrong way, but it's not dark.
It's the only spot. It's the only spot
You
where
need a reflect-
reception works.
Oh well, now you're in my neighborhood because when you talk about bad reception, hello. I don't want to brag, but my internet was down for 4 hours today, and
you're like in an eternal war with Comcast or what?
Oh, it's not a war. They won. They fucking.
You're a prisoner.
You're like, I'm just pieces.
You've accepted defeat. You're one of the spoils of war that they now have.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. I'm literally one. I am one of the metaphoric heads on the spikes that when anybody walks into the yard that is the Xfinity graveyard, it's I'm on the head on the spike. Like, look what happened to that guy, huh? He tried to get his own way, try to run his own wire. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
This is taking a turn.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, if it takes a turn in the beginning, I think that's just the direction we're going.
Where are we going from here?
That just means we've left where we were.
Yeah. It's not a turn if it's in the beginning of the podcast. Anyways, so we have a lot to talk about. First of all, Britney Spears. There's a new documentary on Netflix about Britney Spears. Have you guys seen it?
No, but I do have an update on her case. Today was a big date for her case.
Okay, day of recording for the audio listener. We are recording this probably 2 or 3 weeks ago from if you're listening to the audio.
September 29th.
9th. So make sure you check us out. If you want to see the live version, go check us out on Facebook or YouTube or our Twitches, and you can see the live video.
Tune in Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central.
Or 8 p.m. ish.
8 p.m. ish.
Missy, what happened? What's the update?
So today she had a hearing, and her dad was formally suspended as the head of the conservatorship. And suspended is important because what he had filed paperwork earlier this month to get terminated. And the difference in what the judge granted is that had the judge granted him termination as the head of the conservatorship, he would not be legally obliged to hand over every single documentation regarding the conservatorship for the past 13 years. The judge decided to suspend him, so he has to hand that over ASAP. He also had filed paperwork to end the conservatorship. He was petitioning for that to end today. And
so that he wouldn't have to handle
well,
paperwork, right?
the reason why is because Britney has a federal prosecutor on retainer, and he's going through everything. And so he wanted to be removed now so that he can't continue to investigate him. Judge said no, and the next hearing is set for December, which is when hopefully he will be her attorney will have completed his investigation, and the next move here is obviously to end the conservatorship. So she won big time today, so we're excited for her.
Even bigger news is that news broke before we recorded the episode of the podcast. That's the bigger story here, that we can finally talk about something in a timely
in real
manner.
time.
Yeah,
How many stories have
normally we
broken?
go, that's how winning is done, and recording, and then it's like breaking news, like
The ocean is on fire. Michael Jackson is in fact alive.
Yeah, it's like Elvis discovered hanging out with Tupac and Bob Marley, and then it's like after we record. Damn it.
Yeah.
And by the time 7 days from now, it's gonna be old news. It's gonna be like, guys, did you hear about Bob Marley? Yeah, who gives a like? And this 24-hour news cycle, like news that it just gets like, it's old news.
But the documentaries are supposed to be explosive because the allegations are now that she was recorded, that her children were recorded, unbeknownst to her, that her devices were hacked and intercepted, and all kinds of illegal shit has gone down. And so now the security firm that has been in charge or was in charge during the time that this allegedly happened is also in deep shit, and they're shitting bricks. So everybody's shitting bricks except for Britney, because she's engaged and halfway out this shit show.
Now, question is so.
Question?
Yeah, tell me something.
Sorry.
Tell me something. Yes, that's exactly how it goes.
Me and Mike are huge Destiny's Child fans.
Yeah, I can see.
I genuinely, every function in my brain just stopped trying to remember the actual lyrics to that song, and I can't even remember the name of that song or how it goes. But I just remember, like you said,
it's the Independent Woman song.
Question.
Oh,
it's not called Question. Fuck.
It's called
I know,
Charlie's Angels song.
Now in my head, that's all I can hear. It's been replaced with Question.
Yeah.
Tell me what you can tell about me.
Fuck.
No.
No.
Yes.
It was Stone Cold Steve Austin's intro song for a while.
It was not. He tells all lies.
No, because he used to say, what? Question? What? Question?
Oh, right. That's true.
You're better. You can do better than that joke.
What I was going to ask.
Yes, you can.
So,
he's like, I can't do that.
So in New York, technically, you only need a single party to approve recording of a conversation. So, like, if I wanted to record this conversation, like, let's say we were just like talking in public, like the four of us, and I am recording it for audio purposes, that's perfectly legal because I'm part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. If I was recording you three talking on the other side of the room with a microphone or whatever without telling you, that's illegal. Mm-hmm. Or you over the phone, especially, like that's a big no-no. There's a ton of that, like nanny cam, babysitter, electronic surveillance software that is borderline illegal, like it's a big gray area. Is this like potentially gonna be like involve what they would call like wire fraud or computer fraud now?
So I don't know to what extent. I do know that the network of people that were spied on is not limited to Britney in her room or her house. It also extends to her ex-husband, Kevin Federline's house, and recording their children as well, which they're minors. So
that's unsettling.
In the video of Kevin Federline, did they find any evidence of actual talent?
No.
So
that has not changed.
Not even undercover.
Well, he is really good at getting women pregnant. He's
sure.
He shoots to score.
So like him and Nick Cannon, same boat.
Yes.
Well, he was Chiquita and I were watching this. I don't know which of the documentaries we saw, but it was on Hulu, and it was New York Times Presents.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that
there's
started the
two
whole
of them
shit off.
now.
Yeah.
That's the
There's
one.
another one on
that started
Netflix.
the show.
There's another one on Netflix.
Okay.
The one on Netflix is the newer one.
Okay.
The one on Hulu came out.
But there's a second one that just dropped on Hulu last week too. There's two documentaries that came out in the last week.
So
See, in the chat, we need to start watching these things ahead of time. I'm behind the game. Like I just watched the Lulu Rich documentary.
So did I. So did I, dude. Because of what Missy was saying in the previous episode that I wasn't even a part of. I was just watching it. I was on the ship watching it because the ship actually has good Wi-Fi, and I was actually able to watch it. And so I was watching
Little
it, and
skyscrapers in New York.
and I was listening to her, to Missy talk about the Lulu Rich, and my wife also heard it, and she was like, "Are you gonna watch this, or should I wait for you to watch it with me?" I'm like, "No, man, go ahead and watch it without me." And like 10 minutes later, I get a text message that said, "All right, so I've watched the first 5 minutes of the first episode, and nope, you need to be here to watch this. We need to watch this together." It's one of those crazy, crazy, crazy things. Yeah.
Oh,
So
shit.
my wife, as a former LuLaRoe consultant.
Yeah,
Oh,
what was
really?
her viewpoint on it?
Well, the funny thing is, because every time they would say something crazy, I was just like, like look over, and she's like, "Can you stop looking at me?" And I'm like, if they had a documentary about comedians that happen to work on cruise ships, you would fucking look over, you would glance over at me every once in a while. I'm just saying, just gonna fucking say that.
No, Vanessa would point and stand up, pause it, and make a point. Pause. You see what you're doing?
You see?
That's you.
So
And
every
it's
time we'll talk about how much of a scam it was and how people lost money and how the only way to make money in LuLaRoe is to
Sign
get
other people up.
is to sign other people up, and it's the whole time it was a 4-hour
I told you so.
it was a 4-hour moving gif of Jim doing a triangle on a piece of paper showing Michael Scott how it's how is this a pyramid scheme? I mean, just
calling cards,
just drawing a triangle, and it was like, I gotta call Bobby. It was a 4-hour that, and then every time somebody mentioned, every time a consultant mentioned, I didn't make any money, like any money that I made selling LuLaRoe, it broke even because I didn't have to go buy more supplies. And then the only time I made money were my bonus checks, and the bonus checks were because I was a mentor, and that means you sign people up, and I would just go,
yeah.
Every time I see something like that now, all I think about is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine with the NutriBoom when they're like boom boom, and I just like anytime I see someone mention because Herbalife was a big one, and all those like supplement shake things.
Dude, Herbalife had a partial ship charter on one of the cruises that I happened to be working on.
Fuck.
And
that's a lot of money.
First of all, it was a partial. It wasn't a full ship charter, but it was a partial ship charter. They don't sell they don't do 10 cabin charters. It's like it was a big group. And couple things. I love the fact that they were working out in the gym wearing the Herbalife shit, but they look just like me. And I'm like, but we look the same. But you're wearing Herbalife gear, and we look.
That's
the same.
The difference. They're the shirt.
And then the other thing was that a lot of them had lost a lot of weight, and they kept telling me, like, this was back in 2019, 2008. Like I was like, in 2019, I was getting in shape. I was like working hard, like
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh yeah, I lost 50 pounds, and like, but we can help you get there. We can help you lose more. Now there were just people after the shows. And I just kept making fun of them after every show. And every time I had an interaction with one of them, the very next show, I would put it up on stage. Like, this is the conversation that just happened outside. And ba 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 ba. And people would laugh. And then other people would very nicely come up to me and be like, did they really say that to you? I'm like, yeah. No, they really. Look, I got their fucking business cards. And I would just collect them. By the end of the week, I would just collecting business cards of these people trying to sell me shit. And I'm just like, look, these are here. And like, they're not supposed to do that. They're not here for that. We're not supposed to. They're not even supposed and to be fair, they weren't Herbalife business cards. There were, hey, I also sell cars on the side, but I'm a Herbalife dealer. So call me. Here's my business card from my car dealership.
Always
and
be
we'll talk
closing.
Herbalife. And
the kind of person that would answer, I work in construction, if you're on a date and you ask, what do you do?
Your hands don't feel like construction. Your hands don't feel like they're in construction. Like,
I have a question for the ladies. Have you ever gotten yes, ladies. Have you ever gotten those Boss Baby messages that people make fun of, those
Of
DMs.
course.
Mhm.
Of course.
Like, is it really though? Like with that many emojis and like that kind of
Yes.
language? Like,
I've
why
gotten
do they
I've gotten
feel
a
that
hey
work?
hun, hey babe, hey lovely.
Wait, I got a question.
Uh,
I got a question for the guy. What are you talking about? I have no idea. You said
I opened it up so that they could explain what these things were.
What is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. Like message, what messages? Hey, boom, baby.
So
okay, so
what?
there's
So when
there's a fun phrase that's given to a lot of the pyramid scheme, the MLM members. They're called hun bots, where half the time they'll be sending just mass messages to a bunch of people that it's supposed to seem like it's friendly and customized and everything, but it's really just started off with either hey hun or hey babe or hey lovely or
Yeah.
hey girly or anything hey friendly
Hey,
feminine thing
girly.
here, and then just a big spiel about why something's working for them, like their sales pitch blurred with practically hieroglyphic emojis and excitement that it's supposed to like just leave the front distract you with just colors and shit until you say like until you want to be accepted by this girl. It's that whole it's very
It's
Yeah,
very
very
predatory.
old school.
I get a lot of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
messages. I do. I get a lot. Well, let me rephrase that. I used to get a lot of those messages on my old Instagram account, on my original Instagram account that got suspended. So
Why did your Instagram get suspended?
I don't fucking know. I
Okay.
was on Instagram at 1:30 in the morning on Sunday, so technically it was Monday. I was at 1:30 in the morning. I was in Cincinnati, doing shows last weekend, and everything was fine. And I wake up at 7:30 to catch a flight. And I wake up at 7:30, and like a lot of people wake up and bake, I wake up on Instagram. I wake up, look at my phone. First thing I do is go to Instagram, and then it fucking was giving me the screen of like, we need to verify it's you. So write your phone number and we'll send you a text message. I did, and it says it may take a minute. And I was like, well, I haven't gotten it yet. Let me go get dressed. I took a shower. I packed my bags, came back, still nothing. I fucking asked for the code again and again and again. And then throughout the rest of the day while traveling, catching a flight to Chicago from Cincinnati, then from Chicago to Miami, the entire time fucking refreshing, sending messages to the help department like, hey, I fucking need help. I'm locked out of my account. I kept saying the word locked out because that's what the fucking word. Finally, on Monday night, I went to their Facebook page. Instagram has a Facebook page, and I was like, I'm gonna go to their Facebook page and then give them bad reviews on their Facebook page and put, I don't know why I've been locked out, blah, 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 blah. And then I got an email from Instagram saying, like, fill out the we need some more information, like what's your username. It didn't ask me for my password. It just said, what's your username, what kind of device did you use to sign up for Instagram to begin with. And I like just generic questions, nothing like password, nothing like date of birth, none of that shit.
Mhm.
So I did all of that, and then it took them damn near 24 hours to get right back to me. So now we're at Tuesday at 3 in the afternoon, and they wrote back, your account has been suspended, and it could be for one of these reasons. Read the terms and conditions. You violated one of the terms and conditions, and it listed all the terms and conditions, of which I did none of them.
You
None
feel it?
of them. And then it says, if you feel that we did this an error, if you feel this was an error and you want to reinstate your profile, click on this and fill out this form. So I clicked on that link. It took me to a Facebook page, which it says Facebook, but it was Instagram at the bottom. And it asked me to fill out the form. I filled out the form. When I went to click submit, I got an error message that said you must confirm your identity on Instagram before submitting the form. Here's the thing. I can't confirm my identity on Instagram because in order to do that, I would have to log into my account. Guess what? My account is suspended. So it's a fucking vicious cycle. I then tried to create a second Instagram account, and that one got shut down within 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, it got shut down. That was yesterday.
What?
Yep.
It's super weird.
So someone's signaling, like actually.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I I use the same phone number. I use like, create another account.
Maybe.
Or the fact that in my bio for the second one, I put my @Nery Signs profile has been suspended, trying to get that fixed. In the meantime, I'm going to create this new one, whatever. Follow me here. And then I posted 3 pictures. The fourth one, By the time I posted the fourth one, it was already cut off within 10 minutes. Already cut it off. And
Wait, so
then,
even the new one you have on under your name right now, you can't.
Nope. That's not the one you're talking about. That's the third account, because the second account was unseen by anybody because they got deleted within 10 fucking minutes.
Jesus.
So then that was yesterday, Tuesday. Then today, I woke up and I was like, hey, I asked my wife, I was like, is this crazy? Tell me it's crazy, because I think it's crazy, but I'm at this point. I have an unused line in my phone, like in the group. I have an unused phone number that I've only ever. That the only reason I have it is because A, it was free, and B, back in the days before there was the iPhone upgrade program. Remember, like this line is 2 years, and so I would have to like keep moving. So I have a phone number on my package for T-Mobile that I've never used, and I was like, is it crazy if I go get a phone? Just go buy a phone, like the piece of shit, like flip phone, just so I could have something so that I could create a new Facebook, a new Instagram, and they could send the text verification to that number so that my number is not anywhere associated with that. And she was like, I mean, it's not a bad idea. Do you think it's going to make a difference? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know
how addicted we are to this shit.
No, it's, and then
this is the puzzle would be driving me crazy too.
No, I'm telling you,
I would also be like,
there's so many things that are driving me. I was having this conversation with Missy. It bothers me on so many levels. One, it bothers me because it fucking bothers me. Like, I wish it didn't bother me. I wish.
For clarifying.
I wish. No, I wish.
No,
it
I know
didn't
what
This is his job, though. He's up like this.
But
This is
the
his
fact
livelihood.
The fact that it bothers me bothers me. Like,
it's not like pictures of his breakfast. It's like this motherfucker's promoting himself.
Here's the thing: if it was TikTok, if TikTok kicked me out, I'll be like, okay, I guess I'm off TikTok. I would not fucking blink an eyelash. I would not try to make another account. I'd be like, okay, I got kicked out of TikTok. There goes that. Like, I don't give a fuck about TikTok. I don't think I would even do it for Twitter. I don't think I would even try to make another account for Twitter. It bothers me that it bothers me this much.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I didn't care, but I really actually fucking care.
I want to be the person who's above this, but let's be real.
But I'm fucking not. And then I was talking to Missy, and Missy was like pointing out, she was like, Nery, you put a lot of fucking time, a lot of hours, not only creating content but curating it. Like, I talked about when those videos of my stand-up last month went viral, I would go to each one of the accounts that was promoting me, and I would reply to every single comment on every single comment. Even if it was just a laugh emoji, I would reply to that emoji. I'm like, thank you very much for listening. Check out the fucking my website and my YouTube pages have more videos. I would do that to every single comment, and I spent
it's a marketing tool.
Days, like what people have teams for. I did that shit my fucking self. But here's the thing: it wasn't just this past month. I've been doing that for years. The thing is, there wasn't enough.
Do you think it flagged it as like suspicious activity?
No, here's the part that bothers me. I swear to God, there's a true story. So Saturday, 3 days before I get fucking taken down,
scratching, and you keep getting you're like, no, but wait, hold on, I went there too.
So what happened?
It goes deeper.
I think like Friday or Saturday before I got suspended, Instagram sent me a message saying like, you are now eligible to receive money during your lives. It's a thing that you have to have a certain amount of followers. You have to have a certain amount of activity on your account. It's by invitation only. So now you could start posting lives, and when people they could send you tokens or whatever the fuck
whatever the equivalent of
whatever the equivalent is. And like, I had to go and set up my bank account. I had to do all of that shit. Like, it was I used my business account. I used my business checking, all of that shit. It asked me for my EIN number, like all of that. And that was 2 days before I got fucking suspended. And then I got suspended with it's not like I got a message or a text message or an email saying like, hey, there's a suspicious blah, 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 or somebody complained about you. Yeah, that's what everybody else thinks. That's a lot of people are like, maybe somebody complained about you. I'm like, but you would get a message saying somebody has complained about this post, and they will take down that post. Like, it's unbearable to me to think that. I swear to God, it's a true story. Today, I'm at the fucking T-Mobile, and I'm like, where's the fucking Instagram office?
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally thinking about, because you can't contact them via phone. I tried.
You can't. I've had an issue with them too. Yeah, you can't.
I tried. And I'm like, if I show up to their fucking offices,
I think it's California.
Yeah, it has to be, right? I'm assuming because it's all fucking Facebook and techie and shit. But in my
Look,
mind,
honestly,
I'm like,
look, Nery, there is
if I
you
show
don't.
up, if I show up to the Instagram office, will they see? Like, I'm literally having that fucking thought. Go to California for a day, buy a ticket, fucking go to Instagram, talk to, because I know if I talk to a human being, they'll be like, oh no, there was clearly something. I know if I talk to a human being, because this bullshit of like fill out this form, fill out that, like, that's ridiculous. You're asking me to fill out a form that I cannot even submit because I have to confirm my identity, which I can't do because I have to log into my account, which I can't because it's fucking suspended. That's a comedy. Like, that's one of those things where you see in a comedy, you're like, oh, I don't. Which one comes first?
That happened to me with.
Yeah.
So I had a credit card attached to my Facebook from before when it was converted to like my comedian page when that was the starting that whole process. And I had a credit card on there, and at some point down the road, I started getting emails from that account's Instagram account that I had never opened. So someone was using that account to buy ads on this credit card. Luckily, it like caught it and didn't allow it to do it. But someone created a fake Mike Mercadal Instagram account, and it's created all automatically. So like all of this fraudulent activity is just getting cranked on by like bots and like all of these like script programs. So maybe when you hit a certain level where you can make money, there's like scripts that automatically latch onto that and start to like try to break in. And you being in out of state, like you being in Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati.
Yeah.
When you were doing comedy, like you were out of the area. I guess like your account has multiple logins from multiple different places. Maybe it'll flag that as suspicious activity, and then boom.
All of that I should get an email saying, hey.
Sure. But yeah, they don't. But that's the thing, is that they don't care. Like the thing is, Instagram and Facebook, it's on purpose that you can't like call them up. It's like on purpose.
And that's the kind of shit that bothers me, because here's what part that bothers me. Like, if I was famous, if this shit happened to pick a random celebrity, you know what celebrity that's just in the news right now? Will Smith.
Billie Eilish.
If this shit happens to Will Smith, all he has to do is go on Twitter like I did and be like, Instagram suspended my account. What's the deal with that? And within minutes, that shit will be taken fucking care of. Within minutes. Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, they suspended my Instagram account, but here's I do this shit on Twitter and fucking I get one like, and that's from Missy. And I'm like, cool. Thanks for the support, friend. But nobody else seems to give a fuck. And it bothers the shit out of me that it bothers me, bro. I wish I could be above it.
Honestly, I don't feel like you have to defend the fact that it bothers you. This is an actual marketing tool.
I'm not defending it. It bothers me. I'm just saying it bothers me. Like, that's it. Like, I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could be that guy and be like, oh, bro, shit happens, bro. What are you gonna do?
Well,
dude, like, okay, as an example of people that these things bother. Like, so there's a wedding designer, like wedding dress designer that I've always liked. But I don't think I can even use her name now because her name is now copywritten. So and she's currently in like wedding dress designer. Wait.
I'm hearing some audio difficulties.
It's me. Sorry. I'm trying to share the video.
Okay.
I'm trying to share the feed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, I think I can say her name. So there's a wedding dress designer called Haley Page, right?
As long as it's not the popular US Association, you're fine. You can say it.
Or a couple video still frames from Ong Bak. Then we're good.
So like, okay, so she was a designer and she had like a really big following on her social media under her Instagram name. And people she was really good at being able to let people like personally know her, plus also share her work, behind the scenes stuff. But it had been her own personal Instagram for ages. She was working with another bridal brand. And then at some point they decided, like when she was trying to like leave for something else, they like took her down to her name and took all her social medias and everything. And they just kept it. Like, she can't even use her name, like legally, or her Instagram handle, which is her name.
Yeah.
And like, she's lost all that. She had to like start a whole new different process and stuff like that. Even though she's the reason people follow everything, they are capitalizing and sharing their stuff on her Instagram. And it's one of those things where she's going through a huge legal battle in order to just get her name, her handle back. Like, I think when your Instagram is attached to your talent, but it's also attached to your name, it becomes very, like, it matters to you because you're like, no, this was attached to me as a person. It's part of I was showing my identity. So
Yeah.
what are you doing with it?
And he is his business. He is his career. There's
Mhm.
not like, if I can, if they shut my shit down, I can go to Squarespace. I could start, I can get a blog anywhere and keep
Mhm.
going. That's not the case for him. So hopefully it gets resolved. I Googled Instagram headquarters, and they have 7 offices, one of them in New York.
I'm not
And-
going to go to Instagram headquarters.
Time out.
What kind of
I
friend
would
are you?
fly over there, but I just don't want to pay the fucking Uber ride. I don't
Hey,
mind
man,
paying
I
the
sent you some money to
You
recoup
did.
some of those
flight.
losses.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even see that until like a week and a half later because I never checked that. Because unless I'm selling merch, I never check my Cash App. And then like a week and a half later, I see a message that said $50 from Mike. Thanks for the underwear. And I was like, does he think is that New York prices? Like I literally thought, is that New York prices for underwear? I literally paid $12 for that fucking pack of
The
underwear.
joke would have been more timely. It was a timely joke. But yeah, no, I remember that. Okay, look, this is going to turn into one of.
Thank you, Mike, for the
You're
show.
welcome,
I appreciate. I did. I honestly and that's why I didn't say anything because it was a week and a half later. I'm like, I think I missed a boat to say thanks. At this point, it's just we're gonna just forget this shit ever happened.
Yeah. It was genuinely one of those because it was true. We were making cracking jokes about like only in New York, and then like you get
Which,
charged.
by the way, that
100.
did not go well on stage. By the way, I tried that shit on stage. It did not go well.
Yeah,
on stage.
because unless you're in New York or from New York, it doesn't really
No.
make. No one gives a shit.
It's because I said, is that guy defecating in the little girl's mouth? That part did not. It's New York, baby.
It's New York, baby.
That part did not go
Jesus.
over well because everybody was 1,000 years old. Everybody in that showroom, that show. I did it the wrong show. All.
Oh man, but yeah, no. To be fair, if you want to go to the Instagram headquarters, I guarantee you, it's not going to be what you think it is. It is going to be some like PR office or some bullshit like
some co-working space.
Yeah.
But I just need somebody to talk to so they could relay. Like that's the thing. I've worked call centers, and every call center that goes, "Oh no, we don't have a phone number for my manager." Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you do. Whether or not you give that phone number out to the public, that's a different story. But you know how to get in contact with your fucking supervisor. Yes, you do, bro. That's the thing. I'm just there to be like, let me just tell my story to a human being. Please, let me just tell my story to a human being. That's all I fucking want. It's not a
human connection.
Yeah,
Please.
it's not a like I feel as if any human hears my story, they would be like, okay, that's obviously a mistake, right?
Well, don't you
It's
have
like when you get to the certain age where like you're calling customer service and all you do is yell representative into the phone because you're just like, I'm not gonna do.
Don't you have friends that are verified? Couldn't you reach out to one of their people and like just get me an email, please?
Yeah, but they don't know. They don't even have that. Like I once asked, I'm friends with Aries, and Aries is verified. For example, I asked his agent who was booking me to work with Aries. I go, hey, quick question. I'm trying to get verified on Twitter or verified on Instagram, and then I was like, what are the chat? And they're like, bro, there's no one I could contact. There's like, his agent was telling me that he was verified pre the new way of verifying, because it used to be that you could fill out a form, and based upon what your answers on a form were, they would look at it, submit it, and it would be that a process. Nowadays, it's they pick and choose who gets verified. There is no form.
They just grant you.
Yeah, they grant you. I'm telling you, they granted me the thing to be able to charge, to be able to get money for my lives, and I'm like, oh, I've made it. Like I was like, I made it. I got invited to the club. I may not be in the executive washroom yet, but motherfucker, I'm on my way. And then 2 days later, they're like, negative, motherfucker, you get nothing.
Well,
you want to make another account,
taking booty pics and showing tea and selling at SpawnCon sponsored content. Like he's just like, anyone, hey, we'll pay you $25 to promote this. Yes, we didn't even say what it was yet. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'll promote it.
You want to collab? I'll collab.
We'll collab. So we have to talk about what's on the thing today. R.Kelly, Britney Spears, and Nery gets canceled. We've knocked out 2 of those already. We could get this show done in half an hour, guys. We could knock it out.
I didn't think it was a finish line. I just thought it was more like a starting
point. Let's get this shit over with. No, just kidding.
Oh my god.
But what? So ultimately, like, you have to like let it go, right? You You can't like
He's not going to.
David versus
I'm not going.
Goliath. This
He's
No,
not going
I'm
to.
literally not going to let
He's
that
not
shit go.
going to.
The
That's
only
cute
thing
that you. That's cute that. Yeah, that's not
The
gonna
only
happen.
thing that I'm
for
not
the sake
doing.
of the show, we don't talk about this for the
No.
next 25 minutes.
Oh no, sure, that's fine. I mean, it's not like I went to Japan or anything.
Mike's like, no, I meant let's go right now.
Yeah.
Say that.
it's
Wait,
not-
what was that, Nery? Nery, what was that?
No, it's not like I took a trip to Japan or went to somewhere in Asia where I met my future husband. That I know I can't talk about for 20 fucking minutes straight. But yeah, I mean,
No.
we'll just
Well,
move
I
on.
mean, it's because people keep asking questions about that. So, but not I mean, like if people ask questions, it's only polite to oblige and answer. Is what
Right.
the
The question of, are you gonna let it go? That question.
Or like if you went to the Super Bowl one time, like just like stuff
I
like
actually
that.
went to the Super Bowl. one time.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah,
Get
but
out of town! No,
I don't
really,
talk about
get
it too
out.
much, but it was to watch my favorite team play. Like it was actually a pretty big deal for
Did
me.
you guys
I don't
know
talk
that my
about it.
favorite director is Aaron Sorkin?
We all have our things, Mike. We all have our things that we talk a lot about. Who
Well,
brings up Aaron Sorkin in our
Did you
private
guys know I have
conversations?
ADHD?
Aaron's
In our
Yeah.
in our private conversations, Missy brings up Aaron Sorkin
A lot.
and Melissa McCarthy
A lot.
quite a fucking lot. Like
Yeah.
I'm talking about, it's one of those things where the joke of you get a douchebag that graduated Harvard and he'll find a way to work that shit in.
Andy Bernard
That's-
from Cornell.
Yes, exactly. That's Missy with Aaron Sorkin and or Melissa McCarthy.
I'm a
She'll
fan.
Work it in, bro. She'll fucking
I'm
work it
a
in.
fan,
Newsroom was really great.
among other things, but I'm
Among
not
other-
allowed to talk about it because
That's
my
not even
time
the
is
one
up.
She brings up. That's not even the one she brings up. She brings up Molly's Game more so than the
I
chick
don't
that's in the
actually.
fucking
I
movie
talk.
than Jessica Chastain. She's talked about Molly's Game more than Jessica Chastain. has
No, I
ever talked about
haven't.
it.
I have definitely talked a lot more about the newsroom for years, and it would have to be that because that show came out 10 years ago, and Molly's Game came out for.
Well, I guess I'm
some-
lucky that I've only known you for 3, because for me it's only been Molly's Game.
That's fine.
No,
That's
the West
fine.
Wing.
We'll talk
You talked
about
about the
it
West Wing a lot
afterwards.
too.
That's
You do the West
fine.
Wing.
There needs to be a offshoot, a spin-off of this show that's just Sorkin chat. Soaking and Sorkin.
Look at her wheels turning.
But
Look
like,
at her-
it's,
Yeah.
we have to
Pretty
walk and
simple.
talk while we're doing it.
You have to walk and talk. You have to have
Yeah,
a
it's
walk
just,
and
like, on
talk,
our
and you have
phone.
to.
Is that his thing?
Yeah.
Is that his thing? Does he do a lot of walk and talks? I really don't. I legitimately don't know.
No,
Are you?
That is so
I can't-
Sorkin's thing.
No,
fucking
because
around?
Walk
I,
and talk
I
is so Sorkin's thing.
oh,
To
I thought
me-
you meant like the director. No, like in his stuff. Yes, there's a lot
Yeah.
of walk
Yeah,
and
yeah.
talks.
no, to me, the director that does a lot of walk and talks are Christopher Nolan does a lot of walk and talks, and so does Martin Scorsese. They do a lot of walk and talks.
That douchebag.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm not defending the guy. I'm just saying his fucking.
Oh no,
No,
I'm
you
just
said
making
one
sure
thing
that I
about him
never
and
make it
you-
in Hollywood.
You are now a righteous warrior for Martin Scorsese. You said one good thing.
Anyway, so
Sure,
what were we talking
40
about 10 minutes ago?
My 47 followers on Instagram will now fucking be going to watch his movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to switch to my private account so I can follow you there too.
You know
Ow.
what? We're doing it. We're supporting. It's what's gonna happen. What is your
That's
new
good. I have
Instagram,
2
Nery?
apps now in my fucking name on screen. If to the audio listener, if you go check out the Facebook or the YouTube video, for the first time ever, I've had to do 2 fucking ads because I'm like, all right, there goes that
Isn't there a name for this little thing?
Chiron.
Handle.
handle.
The-
Yes, I've had to do 2 handles. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
Uh,
So
There you
R.
go.
Kelly, huh?
I'm
Tony
being a good
says,
friend.
"Who's on first? I don't know. Is on third.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
He's talking about an Abbott and Costello
and
sketch.
Sorkin. Soaking and Sorkin.
Soaking and Sorkin is look. I'm not gonna say I'm great at coming up with names for things, but
But you
Oh
didn't
my
name
God.
any of the
You
other
just
podcasts
ruined
that you're
it.
on.
I kind of crushed it on that Soakin and
So
Sorkin.
good luck with that podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna be like, you know who'd be a great guest for this? Missy. And then I'll
You
be
know
like,
what's, you know
and
what's
then-
horrible about my brain? I'm sorry. I have to interject here. Soaking now bothers me because now that this week I learned what it means in Mormon sex.
do you
What?
the
I-
people at the top of the screen look unfamiliar? Us on the bottom of the screen really know and are grossed out and are also kind of intrigued by how this process.
I don't want to
came about.
Google search that. So can
Oh,
you
no,
just
I'm-
tell
no,
me?
If you, had to
Super interested.
guess, what soaking is,
For
Bukkake.
Mormons?
For Mormons, what is
For
so?
Mormons.
Nery's always gonna go 9,000. So
Well, bukkake
Yes.
and or baptism, right?
okay,
When you get dipped in water, you get
It's
soaked.
a kind of
Right.
baptism.
kind of. Do,
Well,
It's
so is
kind of a dip. There's a
bukkake.
dip.
So is bukkake. So
it
I
is
mean,
there. Yes.
There's a dipping.
It's a Mormon term. Missy, do you have a guess?
I don't want to guess, so just tell me.
No, now you have to guess.
gas.
What do you think it is?
Is it like a punishment when they when you wear spaghetti straps and then like soak you in holy water until you're pure again? Like that kind of shit?
That would make more sense. Soaking is what young Mormons like to refer to when you put a penis in a vagina, but you don't move. You just leave it in there to soak.
Because the thrusting is what makes it like, is what makes it sinful.
The movement. I love. Look at the top of the screen and at the bottom of the screen. You just soak.
The bottom of the screen are the ones who are on the internet way more.
Yeah, totally. High five. Can we do high
Oh
five? Yeah.
shit!
Yeah.
Oh my
This
god,
nice,
that
this
is so fucking great! Oh my god!
Cool. Now, okay.
I have a question though before you proceed. How
Sure.
did Soken come up? Where did it trend? What happened? Is it in reference to R.
yes.
Kelly's conviction?
No,
like,
no, it's a different thing.
okay.
It's
No, it's 'cause they were
because
coming with a podcast, soaking on
yeah,
soaking.
soaking on circuit.
Yeah. And then all I was picturing in my head.
Yes, was Aaron Sorkin being soaked in or doing the soaking? It's a different thing. But the
soaked
point
in
being,
the grammar.
so it got around that there's so a TikTok went viral involving what's called jumping. So it's what happens is if to go further down the rabbit hole. So if you're soaking and you don't want to move, but like it's just in there, nothing's happening. You, as a loophole, they're trying to find a loophole to this premarital sex thing in the Bible. Have someone on the bed jumping up and down, and then it moves your bodies. And thus provides the motion for the sexual activity.
No.
But you're not. I'm not moving.
No.
I'm not the one moving.
Just fuck. Just fuck.
You know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. You
Well,
know, and to quote a very famous scientist, nature finds a way.
Yeah, life finds
And
a way.
this is what happens.
And
I used to have a joke about this because I was like talking to, it was like one of those courting phases. I met a girl.
Courting faces. Did you call on her?
I did. I called on her and I bowed.
I promised a dowry to her dear mother.
And then we went like on we went on 2 dates. But she had told me that she was staying a virgin into a marriage, and I was like, oh, okay. And this was when I was still young enough to be like cool and not run. And then she told me, and then she proceeded to follow that statement with, that doesn't mean that I don't do other things.
I know where this
And
is
then
going.
with that statement, immediately, at least then, 22-year-old Nery thought oral. That is not what she meant.
Nope.
Peach emoji.
Yeah, that is not what she meant. She meant taking the train to Browntown.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then she said it to me, and then she told me, yeah, I do everything but that. I'm like, so she includes oral, like oral, but then there was
she's not going to be getting it up the ass and being like, hey, keep it away from my lips. All right, get it out of here.
Well,
You want me
I
to
know
put my
women-
mouth
I know-
on what? That's been in my ass.
I
No,
know women
thank
who,
you.
I know women who are very much. I could give you names of women who are like that, who do anal but don't do oral. I swear to God, I know people.
I mean, if
I thought you meant did
not
both at the same
one
time. I was
after-
about to,
not
No,
one after
so-
the other, like
so-
right
so-
after.
Nah, so
there's an order it needs to
I
go
remember
in.
doing stand up back then. I was super green and I was super new, and that was one of the things where one of my jokes was like, I met a girl who said that she does anal, but she doesn't like because of God. I'm like, oh, you think God's like, hey, oh no, it's in the ass. Never mind, go ahead, you're good to go. Like that was my bit, and it's hilarious to me that it's now it's evolved into soaking.
It's always been like that, though, man. It's always been.
We just weren't
hidden.
Aware of it. We just didn't have the social medias.
No, there's always been people trying to fuck without getting, like, man, it's the
Like,
history
oh,
of
like the
man
Family
is
Guy
to
when they
bust
talk about
nuts.
when they talk about having sex in the ear.
What?
You remember that?
I don't see that episode.
Season one of Family Guy. They said there's a new craze going around school because they had they had one of those people go to the school and they talk about like being a virgin is cool and all this shit there. And it's the same episode where the guy turns his chair backwards and he goes, he's sitting just like us. He must be cool. We got to listen to him. And he was like, being a virgin is cool and saving yourself and blah, blah, and don't have sex.
Oh my
and
God.
then in the news, it said, yes, that's the line. Dan, the Bona has a line where he says, in the news break, Tom Broker said they're having sex in the ear now, which has created the saying, once you go black, you go deaf. And I remember hearing that and could not. This is I'm quoting Family Guy. This is not me. You can't get mad at me, people. But it's
Technically, you've already been canceled twice, so like,
Yes.
what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? You got to put it in there and just let it sit. No thrusting.
That's
You
what
got it
That's
right.
what talking is. Yeah.
Yolanda is giving an emoji, and I think it's
Shocked.
shocked.
It's very hard to shock her. Wow.
Yeah.
Tony doesn't know how it's possible.
To soak?
Yolanda says anal.
Just anal. Like that's just a one comment.
That's just one word comment.
One
word comment. The bonus says sex in the ear. Once you go black, you go deaf. Yeah, he quoted it. And Yolanda says Mitch's expression is priceless. And Wet Willie.
Oh no. Oh no. Bravo.
Yolanda.
Mental images. I can't.
Well, speaking of virginity being cool, this I'm sure we can put on the air without getting in trouble.
R.Kelly?
No.
Yeah.
I shared this in the hold on, let me see. The pastor. Did you guys watch this?
Yeah, we watched it with you.
No, this is a different one.
Oh, okay.
This is something else. Hold on. Let me. Does the audio on? Yeah. Hold on.
I didn't see the audio of this. I just saw it in passing.
No.
Clip.
Virginity is cool.
Can you hear it?
Come on. Virginity is cool. What up? Is cool. He's got it. He's got virginity is cool. Come on.
Look how sad those kids are.
Cool. What up? Virginity is cool. Come on. Virginity is cool.
Did he say cherry?
Virginity is cool. Virginity is cool, and that was it.
He didn't say. I think he said virginity twice, and then he said cherry.
Did he say cherry?
No,
I absolutely
he did
don't
not.
think so.
He 100% did not.
Cool.
The lack of rhythm in that video is just
there. That's yes.
Like
that's
the
thing
snacks for
that's
that
wrong with
conference
that.
were like vanilla wafers and and apple juice.
We're focused on the wrong part of that whole thing. Did you see how many people were in that room? Those teenagers have to deal with that now.
Yeah, there's overcrowding and there's overpopulation in prisons all over the country, man.
I saw that and I was like watching because I was trying to like look at the people's faces in the crowd because some of them are just cracking up. Some people are just like, what the fuck is going on? And some of these teenagers, and the fact that they're trying to coordinate a hand rhythm thing,
but like none of them has it. Like
none of them want to do it. There, you could see a whole bunch of them are just like cracking up at how dumb this is.
All right, give me a second, guys. I'll be right.
Yeah, but you know that pastor like dragged a couple of those boys on stage because he was like, "Yeah, you're the cool ones. Like you're the ones that everyone like thinks is cool," and they were just like, "Why am I?"
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with this. I went to a Christian school that was very, very Christian. And then I was involved in like the youth groups and all that stuff. And every stereotype and like trope you hear about it is true. 100%. It's super cringy. It's super white and racist. It's super inappropriately touchy. It's super like, oh God, it's so cringe worthy to be involved in that whole world. And then like at some point inevitably, there's always like, oh yeah, and then why did this guy had to leave the church who was the youth pastor? It's like, oh yeah, he fucked one of the girls or he fucked one of the kids, he fucked one of the boys. You know, like always, invariably, it's always like that. It's like it's almost like cliche to make fun of the church that way. Like it's almost like not even oh yeah, the youth
Low-hanging
pastor
fruit.
got caught banging one of the teens, and then there's like, was it a boy or a girl? Like that's what they care about. That because it happened in a church that I used to go to, and I remember every time I'd mention that to devout people, they'd be like, was it a boy or a girl? And I'm like, it was
Why
a
does that
child.
matter?
It was
They were
was
underage.
it was an underage person that should not matter who it was, but if it was gay, they would have been more mad. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
I have an interesting I wanted to stop here for a second. You were talking about Family Guy, and I thought of Family Matters, and I was like, what episode was that?
Could you imagine Urkel talking about like,
Oh
he
my
put it in my
Oh, Lord
did
have
I
mercy.
do that?
Lord have mercy.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some
What a
like
weird
Urkel,
world.
Like remember Urkel and his like really clingy girlfriend?
There was
Oh,
Myra.
yeah,
She was
what's
way
her
hotter
name?
than Laura.
Myra?
I think.
Myra.
Yeah, like that's some like Urkel Myra stuff, like when he wasn't ready. Or like Myra wanted to try everything.
Just
Yeah, I mean,
Mormonism is so weird. I know that Christianity as a whole, like I'm not gonna open that kind of worms. I'm just saying Mormons are weird. Like just the indoctrination, the level of indoctrination that denomination of Christianity, it goes fucking deep. Like,
well, they all do. Like that's the thing. As someone who was raised in that kind of environment, like it's all bad. Like it's not fun. Like when you look back on it and you realize you're like, oh my God, they made me so afraid of hell that it was like bad news. Like they were telling children like about hell, and even then, like it's still bonker. Like just because it's new, like to our ears, it's like different. You know what I mean? Like
I would disagree.
Mormonism talking about the magic underwear, like
I would disagree only because in terms of, like, if you just look at an excommunication as a practice, Christians are much better at just judging you quietly and like gossiping and talking shit about you behind your back, but still letting you come to church. So you have
that's okay.
It's not okay.
It's still bad.
It's not okay. It's not okay. But you, as a Christian that chooses to continue to go to church, that you still have access to your community, to your faith, to your traditions, to your rituals, whatever. I'm not saying it's better or worse. Let me just get to the other side.
My family got kicked out of their church. With
Mormons, the excommunication, I want to say this is a very like loose allegation, but I want to say that the indoctrination processes in Mormonism rival that of Scientology. And it's pretty bad. And so kids kill themselves. In their like statistics have come back and whatever, like in droves because of the excommunication. And it's not just of the church, it's the family, friends, everyone you've ever known, you're excommunicated. And so I don't know. This kind of stuff is just weird.
They're all bad. You can talk shit about all of them. They're all fucking bad. They all have their shit. I'm telling you, as someone who and my family is very devout. Like my family is still very Christian. But even then, my grandfather, who was a reverend, a pastor, he was kicked out of his church because there was like infighting and stuff like that. He had to start, and he took his people. The people, they like split down the middle. Real worldly shit. You know what I mean? Like real gossipy bullshit that has nothing to do with God, and it affected my family person. Me as like the black sheep of the family, where I don't believe in any of this shit. It opens your eyes a little bit when all of it, people are like, oh yeah, Scientology's weird. It's like, yeah, as opposed to talking snakes in a burning bush, like it's all weird. It's all crazy. It's all nuts. Oh, Scientology believes in aliens. It's like, well, actually, aliens are more likely to be true than Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, what
I mean, I was just talking about the excommunication. I wasn't really talking about whether or not it's real or not. I just think that
I just talked about getting kicked out of your church,
right?
Like they did that in a Baptist church to my grandfather,
right?
And my grandmother.
I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that it's a practice that's not very prevalent. It's not very. It happens. Yes, it's awful.
Oof. I don't think you're speaking with a broad enough umbrella here, because there's so
I've heard
many
about it
Christian,
happening quite a
you know
few
what I mean?
times.
Like in Southern Christian churches that talk about like trans and gay people getting completely ostracized from their communities because they don't even want to leave the church. They're just gay and they get kicked out. There's like it's not that they want out, it's that they just want in and they won't let them in. It's a different thing altogether. Jehovah Witness, when you talk about Jehovah Witness, that's Christian. That's a branch of Christianity. They cut you off big time. They shut you down hard.
Yeah,
You're
they
not even
do.
allowed to
That's really bad
talk
as
to your
well.
brothers or your sisters or your mothers or your father. If you're out, you're out. Like you can't even like I have friends that they lived in the same house and they didn't say two words to their other family members for like a decade. Like they weren't allowed to intermingle their money. They weren't allowed to do shit. So it's like it's all fanaticism. It's all too much. And I'll say that. You don't have to say that. I'll say that. It's all crazy to have like, you know, this determine, like some magical thinking determine how you interact with the world. You on a long enough timeline with Mormons, you end up with magic underwear. You end up with a belief that your God is an alien on another planet who has sex with women. That's a real thing. And you have to soak to get around the loopholes of the Bible, because that's the thing that God's always looking for creative interpretations of his rules. That's one thing we know as of reading holy text. It's like, hey, if you could get around it, you know, you're in, you know. That's basically the situation. And yeah, it happens to every religion, you know, like all of it is very exclusionary, we'll say.
Yeah,
and then I'll get off
honestly, there's times where there's times where I'm really relieved with the fact that like my parents, like I'm Catholic. My parents raised me very much with the mindset of like, hey, these are lovely stories, and these are lovely
great.
allegories.
That's way better, yeah.
Choose to believe what you want to believe, but don't let it make you feel bad either. Just because like for me as a kid, it messed with my head a lot. So my uncle that I love very much passed away when I was really young. And that was a lot for me to process at 10 when I was going to all my like Bible stuff. And I had my little kids beginner's Bible and like all this stuff. And someone else told me that homosexuality was a sin. And that never was in the stuff that I read, but someone else told me as a matter of fact.
The social group that you were supposed to be a part of, not the literature, but the people around you.
Yeah. And it wasn't even the people that it was like some other person like in school was like telling me like, no, he's in hell. And I'm like wow. The fuck. And I remember like having
hey, I'm a child. I'm a little kid.
Yeah. It's a lot to have a crisis of faith at 10.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, wait, what? Why would anyone have anything against my uncle? He was amazing. He was the best person on the planet. And I remember my parents having to sit me back down like back then being like, well, we don't believe that shit. And like no one knows the actual facts. No one knows anything. And like also sitting with like no one knows anything at like 10.
Yeah, at
like,
10 years old, imagine though, as like the adults are like, hey man, we don't know either. And then you're like, no, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to be the ones that tell me what to do.
Why is everyone telling me like this is fact then? Like why is this happening? Why did everyone say like of course?
Whoa, what happened?
I don't know. I think she looked like she was frozen for a little bit.
What happened with Missy?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, she just said the internet went down.
The truth of the whole like the when you like, I remember I would have like what is it called? What's it called when you wake up screaming?
Great sex.
Night terror, huh? What'd you say?
Great sex.
Yeah. When you wake up, did you?
Yes.
Is it great because you're only there for the end?
Have you ever fallen asleep masturbating? That shit is hilarious to me. Like whenever it happens, I think it's fucking hilarious.
I ever have.
You've fallen asleep masturbating?
Yeah, because when you're so tired, but you want to masturbate, but you're so tired and you start dozing off because you got to find the perfect one. You know, every guy does this where you got to find the perfect porn to watch. Yeah. And then you literally penis in hand and you're watching this and you start dozing off and you start just trying to plow through, but I've gone both ways where I'm just like, I'm gonna plow through and I finish, and then there are times where I'm just like, Nery, call it a fucking night. Just call it a night.
Take your L.
Just take the L and move the fuck on. And I've done both where I'm just like, I'm super tired, man. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
And I've done the other one where I'm like, I just need to finish this. Once I finish this, I'll be out for real. Like that puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
And
like how some people
it's like
read
when you
chapters
leave-
in a book. It's how
Yes.
Nery
Yeah.
scrolls
It's like when
through.
you leave the dishes. It's like for me, it's like when you leave something to do, and then you're like falling asleep, and then you're like, nah, it's gonna bother me if I don't do it. That's like you with jerking off. You're, you're like, nah, it's gonna bother me if I don't knock this one
bother
out.
me if I don't do it. If I don't do it, yeah. That hasn't happened often, but it's happened to me probably 2 or 3 times in my life.
That's another thing about when I was in super religious school. They would like genuinely, we would have like, I had my senior year, because I had passed all my classes and I was like skating by. I had like 6 Bible classes, because those were like the throwaway classes as opposed to like study hall or whatever. They would just give you Bible classes. So I had like a bunch of Bible classes, and I was just sitting there, whatever. And at this point, I hadn't completely lost my faith yet, but I was close, man. And then at this point,
try me, motherfucker,
bro. Like,
try me.
Yeah, give me one
crisis of
faith, bro. Give me one hypocrite more, and I'm out.
I think there's like no other more guaranteed way to create an atheist than give him more Bible classes when you're trying to skate by
so
senior
true.
year. Like,
yeah,
like
it's so true, especially now when you see all of the like religious exemption stuff for the vaccine and all that stuff. It's like, hey, do you guys know what? Like, none of you fuckers have actually read the book, right? You just hold it and use it as a prop. Like if you like read it every once in a while. The second you read it, it kind of all falls apart, and then
Can I just tell you real quick? Talking about that, I started to, but you just brought up something. Missy just told me, like, I consider myself someone of faith, right? But I'm not devout or anything, but I have my faith. Missy just told me the story of how Abraham left his first wife and kids. I did not know that. Right? I did not know that. And I was like, wait, what? Like, yeah, I'm like, wait, like, did she die? Like, I was like, really? Did she die? And
he's like, God called me to go buy. Buy some lotto scratches and cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'm out.
And so then that's what she told me, and I was like, do the people are the religious people who are against divorce? Do they know this?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, I think they do. And I'm like, no, I don't think they fucking do.
Yeah,
I don't think they do. Why would? Because that's what you hear, right? Like the Catholic Church forever had this thing where you couldn't get remarried if you got divorced. You couldn't get married again in the Catholic Church because if you ever got divorced and all that. And I was like, but Abraham.
That was more about property rights management and treating women as property. Abraham, etc. We own these women, and we cannot give them any freedom.
Yeah.
So we got.
Sorry, but you just talked about the moment you talked about that whole thing about
not knowing what's in there.
Yeah, not knowing what's in there, and I was like, "Have you read the Bible?" Because I literally said that to Missy this week. I go, "Have they read that part? Yeah. Have they read the part about Abraham?" Because I haven't, but then again, I'm not against divorce, so I don't, you know what I mean? It's not a problem. Right. I haven't read it.
What I was going to say is, because in typical teenage fashion, I remember, so of all of the teachers I had, a majority of them were trash. Like, they were just shitty, fucking horrible teachers. And there was one teacher, this guy, Pastor Dealman, and he was, of all of the people in that school, he was like the only one that was trying to live Christ-like. You know what I mean? Like, there's Christians, and then there's people who try to live like Christ, and there's a very big difference. One of them is you actually like have to be a nice person and accept everybody and love your neighbor and all that shit, as opposed to the other stuff. And I love this guy. I do not believe in religion because of him or anything like that. It's not. But I remember him being like, if anyone could point, like, if you wanted me to point to a good Christian, I'd be like, of what I know about him, this guy knows what's up. And I
like the disclaimer of what I know about him.
It's true.
And then we go to this guy's house. We go to this guy's house. In his basement, he has 3 women. Like, it's crazy shit, right? Because that's what everybody says about every crazy fucking psycho that they find out. Like, he was the nicest guy. He was always.
Well, I'll tell you this about Mr.
Polite. He was always that.
Mr. Jim, he was genuinely like a good dude, and he understood that we were like hormone soaked, rambunctious asshole teenagers, like all of us. We were so rebellious. We were soaking. Yeah, we were soaking back then. Soaking before it was soaking. You know what I mean? We were hipsters. Soaking hipsters. Yeah. I was into soaking before. But the fuck, I got distracted. No, but he was genuinely like a good guy, and you will talk if you ever want me to tell like of what I know about him. Like, it's he's a genuinely like good dude. And one day the students in class were like fucking around, and they were, like being in a like genuinely like impossible to control. and like straight up Dangerous Minds level, like fighting and throwing shit and not paying attention, like where you can't even get control. And then finally he's like, look, I'll answer to get everyone's attention. It's like, forget about what I was going to talk about today. I will answer your questions as best I can, and I don't care about what you can curse, you can say whatever you want, and I will be do my best to represent what I think the right answer is in Christianity, in the Bible. And and everybody starts like fucking around, like, you know, whatever. And then some guy, and genuinely, like one kid put his hand up, like, and was like, "Why is it wrong to masturbate? Like, why is that wrong?" And then he's like, "Okay," and then everyone's like, "Ha ha 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 ha!" And then he's like, "No. I mean, like, if he's gonna answer the question, like, I want to know what the answer is." And Mr. Diehlmann straight up was like, "Well, let's look it up." And then he looks up in one of his books, and he's like, finds the Bible verse that says that the seed shall not spill on the ground. And he talked to us like fucking adults, you know, like, like, hey, that's what it says. And everyone is tempted by, you know, like, hormones and all these things. And then he like genuinely talked to us for a little while. So like, I will always have respect for Mr. Diehlmann, even as a Christian, because that guy, I know there are good ones out there. That guy's a good one, you know, like that guy as from what I know was a good representative of what he was supposed to be. Like, he practiced what he preached, and that to me is a very, very huge deal when it comes to like church stuff, because 9 times out of 10 you scratch a little bit and then you get some vile ass shit. So, you know, like people that just, like, genuinely answering questions about like, well, why can't we jerk off? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we jerk off is genuinely like it hurts nobody, you know, like why is it a bad thing? As a kid, it happens even when you're not like trying, like when you're a teenage boy and you wake up and you're like, well, that was a good dream, you know, like.
Well, there's like a big Christian author, like pretty famous. He wrote Brennan Manning is his name. He wrote this book called The Ragamuffin Bible, which
Ragamuffin.
Ragamuffin Bible, which I was a huge fan of the book, to be honest with you. Yeah, I read. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. Not the whole thing, but I read it.
There it is. There it is.
That's the funny thing to say. He has this thing it's made the rounds for a million years now, where he said the most destructive, or I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember exactly the quote, but he says the most destructive thing to Christianity are Christians who say one thing with their mouth and they'll do other things when they turn their heads, or something to that effect. I'm massacring, but it's like anybody, like what you're talking about, representation. Like if you want to represent something that is supposed to be representing something good, if you talk the talk, you better fucking walk the walk. And the biggest destruction to that is, you know, Christians who say one thing and then do the opposite. But I think that's the case. You could substitute Christian with anything at that point and be like, yeah, that's the truth about, like, the biggest destruction to you know, it's trust. And if you fucking say one thing, walk the walk.
That's my unified theory of like social interaction. No double standards. Like, you can't have different rules for different, you know what I mean? Like
we all do double standards, and we're all hypocrites.
But we shouldn't. We're guilty of it. But that's what we should be striving to. If you really want to,
like saying the aim should be
the aim, right? Of course, you know, like you aim better, like the do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Nah, you have to do unto others better than you would have them do unto you, because you got to account for the margin of error. You know what I mean? Like, if I want back what I put out, I got to put out even more. You know.
If you aim for nothing, you'll hit nothing.
Ooh, kick flicks.
Yeah.
How good was that movie?
It was good. I was trying to find a problem with it, and I couldn't fucking find a problem with it. I'm like, you know what I didn't like? Fucking nothing. That movie was great. It was great.
Solid. Okay, just for anyone who just came in at this point, we now made a reference to Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. You know what? Here's a difficult thing about that movie is I can't take my 6-year-old kid to watch that movie. There's a lot of fucking subtitles.
Oh, there's a lot of reading.
That for being a Marvel movie, you know, people always, and again, I'm not doing that shit where it's like people talk shit about DC, and I'm not comparing, but a lot of people don't like DC movies because they complain that it's too dark and that their kids can't watch them and blah blah blah. And I'm like, your 6-year-old. I mean, I'm not saying there's no 6-year-old that's not gonna be able to watch it, because obviously some. But my 6-year-old is not going to be able to read those fucking words, and then I got to talk during the movie and be like, "This is what they meant."
I know maybe there'll be an option once the movie actually comes out to
I mean, once it comes out on home video, I could fucking pause it and tell him what it says.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not an issue. I'm having a hard enough time keeping up with the fucking subtitles myself. I can't. What am I gonna do?
You're like, Dad, what's that one say? I don't know. Let's go back and look at it. I missed it too. I don't know. I missed it.
Yeah, like I'm just going with tone here. Like that's all I'm doing.
Do we have thoughts on R. Kelly just to knock everything out on the thing?
I don't know exactly what happened, but I know the headline.
How much I love the movie.
The headline on R. Kelly was that he got sentenced to like he got found guilty.
He found guilty.
Not sentencing. He didn't get sentenced yet, but he got found guilty on all of them. Right? It was like all the counts. Like there wasn't. So yeah.
Can you believe that his because I know that a part of him probably got cocky, right? Because come
on,
no, just no, pero no.
You're the one that said it. Why you get mad at me?
You said it right. What you said had implications.
Okay.
Anyways, in previous cases, he's been able to get away, right? And this time, his defense team only had 5 witnesses. 5 to the 40-something that the prosecutors had.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, how many witnesses do you need to say that he did that somebody didn't do something? I'm not defending the guy at all by any means.
Oh no. When of the 5, one was just a guy who was loosely in his entourage who was basically like kind of living off him and never like a wannabe rapper who hasn't even released an album. The other one was his audio engineer who like even admitted
like they all are employees of his.
Yeah. Okay. And like one was like
I was like, why are you making fun of that guy's job? Engineer's a real job. Like his
No, his audio engineer. His
livelihood depends on R. Kelly.
Yes. Yeah. So like he himself on stand, like they asked him, I'm like, you have reason.
Was he the sound engineer in charge of the Whisper song? Because if so, fuck him. Send him to jail too. That fucking song was awful. The Whisper song? That song was
I don't want to even click on it to give it a link.
That song was trash.
Why are people still? Why is his music still available?
People are still playing Michael Jackson. It's fucking bonkers to me. I was having this conversation with Mike in New York a few weeks ago. Jim Jeffries was saying this on his podcast where he was like, it boggles my mind that people are still listening to Michael Jackson music. It doesn't like I don't know. And I'm one of those, like, I don't, but like I'll be in a comedy club waiting for the show to start, and then Michael Jackson's song come out. I'm like, fuck, this is good. I'm begrudgingly listening to it because I have to be there. I have a show coming up. It's not like I'm like, fuck, this is good. Son of a bitch. That's like son of a bitch.
You hate when it's
because then you catch yourself. You're like,
I hate listening to it. I'm like, fuck,
shit.
And my favorite song used to be Pretty Young Thing. It's fucking gross.
I want to love you.
I know the music's good, and that's the thing. Like, it's hard to do that when you're like, fuck, like music actually tends to move you as a person, but then your brain's like, stop it.
You know what's that's okay. Like going back, like, you know how we were talking about the church and we're shitting on the church and Christians and all that stuff. If you go back,
yeah. That what you were doing? Holy shit! I walked in at the wrong moment to the list.
You missed a lot of good stuff.
Step out for a second. I did not know that. I do not co-sign that at all.
Mike was going on this big rant, and then like,
and that's what
he was frozen at that moment.
Is that when Mrs. Internet just happened to go down?
I guess.
I caught bullshit. She just didn't like the fuck what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah. She was talking about Mormons, and I was like, hey, Christians too. Let's all calm down at how bad these people are. But yeah, okay. So you see that?
I get what she's talking about in the sense
of
hold
I'm doing joking.
No, but you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you take yes, it's a joke. I get it, but fucking stick with me here.
I promise we're friends.
No, listener.
Maybe not after tonight.
We have blood oaths against each other now. So that little feeling of like, well, that people get for like their thing, if you go back and you find every recording artist, major, and I'm not talking about underground, I'm talking about major recording artists, and how many of them have had sex with underage girls and boys, it is fucking it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to listen to any radio. Like, the more you know, the more miserable you are, because like I didn't want to say some names to like ruin it for people, but also fuck them. They were pedophiles. Fucking Aerosmith, forget it. Led Zeppelin, forget it. Aerosmith, oh my god, yeah. Steven Tyler's a fucking monster.
No.
Yes.
Well, he
yes.
looks like one.
Well, yeah. He like basically like
Poison.
yes, probably all of those
Look,
all
a
of
lot
those
of
hair
people
metal
in
bands
power,
for
right?
sure.
Leonard
Yeah.
Skinner.
There was
Anybody
one that-
who was popular in the 60s, 70s, and or 80s.
There was
Uh,
the Rolling Stones for sure. The Beatles probably. Like everyone, like these are huge acts, like big giant names, and they all have songs about like teenage girls.
ooh, Stevie B does too. It's called Young Love. Stevie B.
Young
I know you
Love.
just mentioned.
I meant Spring Love. I know
I know
Spring
you
Love.
just.
Is it?
No, I know, but there's another one. It's Young Love. I know you just mentioned a bunch of huge acts, and then I was like, and the guy that mows my lawn too.
But even like that's the thing is that the more you hear about all
You
of these
literally
stories,
said the Beatles. You literally said the Beatles, and I was like, and Stevie B, who I bought a CD out of the trunk of his car. Literally.
There's that. Did you ever hear me do the Benny Mardones bit that I have about that song "Into the Night," where it's like that song where it's like, "If I could fly, I'd pick you up, I'd take you."
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. The first line of that song is, "She's just 16 years old." You know, like, and then I go through the whole song, and it's like a real creepy, rapey vibe. Like,
yeah.
That song is just straight up. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Stevie B's song talks about that she's 16, but and he has to say no to her, but he really doesn't want to say no to her.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole fucking thing. It's really
there's
so
that.
many. Yeah, there's so many songs about that.
And then there's the real life stuff, like Chris Brown, right? Like, why does Chris Brown still have a career? You know what I mean? Like, why is that guy still?
Well, because she was over 16 though.
Yeah, but he beat the shit out of her. Oh, you think it was a fair fight? Is that what it is?
That's the fucking joke. That was it. Come on, man.
I'm going with that
because you were like, oh, that's what it is. Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Do we have Am I the Asshole?
Yes, I have two for you to choose from. I'm just reading the titles. I don't really go through any more detail. Am I the asshole for forcing him to hold up his end of the bargain? Or am I the asshole for refusing to open the door for my sister when she brought her kids to stay with me? One or two.
I mean, the first one is vague enough that I want to know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
and
the
as
challenge.
as an aside, this entire recording, I've been so distracted about the fact that, like, right now in the camera, I look like as if I'm waiting for my husband to come back from the war.
You do. You absolutely look like you're pining for the through the curtains.
You look like a 1980s R&B video.
You.
If it was raining, that's all you would need is that it rain, and then you're like on the glass, like
you look like a Stevie B video.
You look like you're at the lake house and you're waiting for the letter to pop into the mail.
Yeah. And then you part the curtain. Is that the postman? Oh no.
No. Oh.
No, I'm so sad. Which one are we doing?
Okay.
That's gonna be the new cover. Let's go with one. Let's go.
All right, we'll go with one. Am I the asshole for forcing him to hold up his end of the bargain? Long story short, 3 years ago, my fiance's mom was trying to leave a relationship and needed a place to stay. At the time, we lived in a very small, cramped 2-bedroom apartment with the second bedroom converted into my office because I work from home and needed the space for my employment. My employment equipment, 2 monitors, a printer, fax, filing cabinets, etc. Despite me saying that I truly didn't want to give my space, he begged and pleaded until I finally gave in. He said, and I quote, "When the day comes, you know I would do the same for you if your family ever needed it." I was honestly still far from happy because realistically speaking, his mom didn't need a place to go at all. The house her and her boyfriend had was in fact hers, and she had owned it for years. So why she was the one to move out is beyond me. It wasn't a toxic relationship. She just wasn't feeling it anymore. I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fast forward 2 months of her staying. She has completely taken over my office space, and I have my equipment set up in the only other spot available, directly in front of my TV. She moves out and back in with her boyfriend. Never paid a dime and didn't even bother taking most of her shit with her, which took me more than 3 days to clear out of my out with my fiance. Not impressed. Anywho, we upgrade. We bought a 4-bedroom home last year with the plan of expanding our family. This was prior to finding out he is fertile. Prior to
I'm assuming she means infertile.
Infertile. It sucks, but honestly, it is what it is. I'm not wildly upset about it. However, my mom just lost her home due to foreclosure, and she was renting, and she was renting, and her landlord didn't pay his rent, so the house was foreclosed, and she was given a 3-day notice to leave. Wow. My mom has my siblings with her, 14-year-old twins, very well behaved and clean kids. She needs a place to go. When we have 2 rooms available, I bring it up with my fiance, and he immediately says he isn't comfortable with it and that he doesn't want his home to feel like it isn't his by allowing other people to move in and take over. So I brought up his agreement years back and stated that I allowed his mother to move in for literally no reason, whereas my mother legit needs a place. He is now saying that was years ago, and the situation is 100% different. There wasn't 2 teenagers because there wasn't 2 teenagers running the house when his mom moved in. He says, I'm an asshole for trying to force this on him and make him do something he isn't comfortable with. Am I the asshole?
No.
Fuck.
Fuck no.
Red flags.
All the red flags. Leave that
This
relationship. Do not get married to that man. Do not get married to that man. Anybody who will stop you from helping your own family is not worth marrying.
Well, especially if
that man or woman, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Any person who would stop you from helping your family is not worth marrying.
Especially
now, if your family was toxic,
right?
If your family was toxic and it's a whole thing, and like, blah, all right, whatever. There's gray areas in that statement. It's not black or white. I get it.
Yeah.
But my point is, why would he stop you from helping your family when because she has teenage boys? Like, I don't feel like it's gonna be my house. Well, guess what?
Boys or girls? He just said 14-year-old twins, which it could be either or.
Yeah,
either way,
right.
the problem there is not the boy or the girl; it's the 14. I think.
Well, the problem is that there's teenagers. The assumption is there's teenagers running wild in my house. And it's like, what?
Yeah, or running the house. It feels like as if he already has bad blood against them, and it's one of those things where you're like, well,
no,
this is
fuck
supposed to
that.
be your partner, and you're
right.
supposed to be creating a family together. Like, if you had the intention of actually having children together, like, there's a little human that was going to run your house eventually, anyways. Like,
this screams of control issues, like smacks of control issues. So it's like when she had like a work from home space, and like in a tiny apartment, and he didn't care enough, like he wanted his thing to happen, he made it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're in this big house with no kids and 2 extra bedrooms. Like, yeah, you can figure it out. You know what I mean? Or even like, whatever. But genuine, like, it doesn't seem like there's any negativity with between the mother and the daughter, so I don't think that there's any problem there. Or am I assuming genders here? I don't really.
Who cares?
Really know. It doesn't really matter.
The point is that the fucking point is, it doesn't matter what the genders are. The point is, the fiance is the asshole because he's not holding up his end of the bargain. First of all, there should not have to be a fucking deal in place for you to be able to have to hold up. It should
marriage
be
isn't
your mom needs a place. Your mom just got foreclosed on. She needs to move out in 3 days. Fucking move her in here. I don't give a fuck if it's only a closet. Well, I'll sleep in the couch, or she could sleep in my. That's what you fucking do. Now, if you have bad blood or she's a toxic human being, then state that. Make that fucking argument. Don't say shit like, oh, it's a completely different. Oh, that was years ago. Yeah, bitch, that's the way deals work. Sometimes they take fucking years to cash in.
Yeah. I thought I'm gonna marry you for life, right? It's not until the deal is no longer in your favor. Get the fuck out of here. Go into the comments. People are genuinely like freaked out for this woman. I have no words. I think you should rethink that fiance status. And then this person wrote an entire paragraph I'm reading. Not the asshole, but why are you in this relationship? It sounds like he doesn't care about you or your family. Yep, that's pretty succinct.
Fact.
Yeah.
When the day comes, I would do the same for you if your family ever needed it. And then he said, that's apparently like a purely manipulative statement, and he only said it to me for you to convince you to do what he wanted you to do with zero thought of how it
This is Dwight and Michael Scott at the hotel in Niagara Falls. where Michael didn't make the reservation, and he goes,
Second
"Hey,
office reference for the day, everybody. If you keep
can I? Can I?" And then
home.
Michael says, "Can I stay with you?" And he's like, "No, I don't really feel comfortable with that." And Michael said, "If it was the other way around, I would absolutely let you stay with me." And then Dwight immediately looks at his ticket and goes, "Oh, wait, this isn't mine. This is under your name." And Michael snatches the ticket and goes, "Ha, it's go. I hope you good luck finding a room." And he fucking goes to leave. And then Dwight says, "Nope, it was actually my room, just to show you that if it was the foot was on the other shoe, the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't fucking help me." And that's exactly what this is. Like this is hey, if your family ever needed it, I would totally but you didn't. You just said that just
that
to
was
fucking yeah.
He's a selfish jerk, etc. Months of his mother. There's lots
I
of
think, honestly, I think this "I'm at the asshole" is a no-brainer. It's kind of one of those things where you're like, bro.
Yeah, but it's also like a good example of like they're gonna get married.
I don't think she's trying to talk herself out of whether or not she's the asshole or not. I think she's trying to fucking figure out like, hey, should I get married to this guy? Like,
no. The answer is no.
Resounding no.
Yeah.
The answer to both questions: you're not the asshole, and you should not get married to this person.
Let's do the other one. Am I the asshole for refusing to open the door for my sister when she brought her kids home to stay with me? Oh shit, this one's long as fuck.
Why don't you read the? It's too long to read.
TLDR.
Jesus, why are all these super long? All right, whatever. This is an ongoing conflict. Yesterday at 11 a.m., I was alone at home. DH.
Dear husband.
Gotcha. Went to work early, and I was just starting my daily cleaning routine when the bell rang. Already, I'm questioning this story because it's too cinematic. There's too narrative going on. Usually these are like, oh, I want to buy a car and my wife says we need insulin. Which am I like it's usually much more straightforward than this, but this is already pretty flowery.
Interior, daytime.
Yeah, interior.
Fade in.
Big Apple, 3 a.m. Yesterday.
A baby cries.
Yeah. Yesterday at 11 a.m.
cries in the distance.
A siren wails.
Dear husband went to work. I'll do my best. I wish I had background music.
I love the fact that we're like, man, this is the longest fuck, and here we are like, okay, let's add 25 punchlines to the beginning.
Yeah. No,
we're already adding punchlines.
We hit the first comma, and then here we go. Went to work early, and I was just starting my daily cleaning routine when the bell rang. I, a female, 30 years old, peeked through the hole and saw my sister, female, 36, and her 3 kids, 5, 3, and 2. I did not open the door and talk to her behind it, and I'll explain why in a minute. Bum, scene cuts. She said she had an argument with her chronically ill husband, male, 34, and wanted to once again punish him by keeping the kids away from him until he apologized to her for what he had said, which was regular argument stuff. Explanation. This is formatted in bold. She started doing this when he got sick. Every time she gets in an argument with my brother-in-law, she'd take the kids and refuses to bring them back till he apologized to her. He has a medical condition that prevents him from getting outside the house, and she has been using that, and instead of taking the kids to our aunt's house, this time she brought them to me since our aunt is out of town. She asked that I take the kids for 2 days, but I refused and pointed out how unacceptable and wrong of her to punish her husband, who's already sick, and using the fact that he can't drive to go pick his kids up, or at least using that against him. She'd keep them away for days! ! She started talking about how her husband doesn't care about her hurt feelings and how much she does for him. Also, how this method has proven to be effective since it got him to recognize his wrongdoings and apologize. But I replied that he probably was only apologizing just to see his kids. This is kidnapping. I said it wasn't fair for the kids either, but she said she agreed to stay with me and told me to open the door because they missed me so much. This is fucked up. I refused and said, I won't be responsible when brother-in-law finally decides to do something about this and get the cops involved. She yelled, she is their mother, so the cops won't do a damn thing about it, and assured me my brother-in-law would never do do that, knowing how much she's cared for him. But I stood my ground and said I won't be opening the door. Period. She yelled, saying I was unsupportive and selfish to keep my nieces and nephew out, and refused to open the door for them. I suggested she go work her issues out like a rational adult and stop pulling cruel stunts that affects her husband and the kids' emotional/mental health. She took offense to that and said I was clearly on my brother-in-law's side. Yeah, that's what she should have gotten out of that statement. She shamed me in front of the kids for 10 minutes, then left. Hours later, my dad, who lives in another town, called, shaming and berating me for not opening the door for his grandchildren, then insulting my sister and siding against her. What?
So I guess shaming both sides.
Yeah. He just pulled the curse. The dad, and you're all fuck all of you.
I'm disappointed in all of you.
Yeah, I explained my reasons, but he said the kids are with my cousin and insisted I go pick them up. My husband said I should have opened the door for the kids, and that he could see how my dad would be upset with me for not taking the kids in till my sister's conflict with her husband is resolved. He wants me to go pick the kids up, but I keep refusing. But I feel like I'm unsupportive of my sister. I don't know that.
I feel like
details,
I'm being unsupportive of my sister.
I guess, yeah. More details about my brother-in-law. He has a chronic illness that's gotten worse lately and limited his ability to do most things. To my knowledge, he's catheterized, wears a cannula, a nasal cannula, which is an oxygen thing, and a medical device so he can't drive or walk outside the house. My parents never liked him because he was already sick when my sister married him, and said I don't mean to be laughing at this, but whoa. And said she was wasting her life with him, but she always says she loves him, but I'm not sure judging by her recent actions.
Does she love him, or does she just want to be needed?
This feels more like a venting and not an am I the asshole.
Wow.
Wait, did I miss something?
Question.
What did I miss?
Yes, it's a good question. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, does she love him, or does she just want to be needed?
Oof, that is a question for the ages, Steph. Good Lord.
Oh man,
that just hurt my feet. My memories of past relationships are on fire right now. My God.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, that's a good question. It's a good question.
Okay, whatever. I don't have a that complex.
God damn it. No, this is clearly not an am I the asshole. This is clearly I would rather not go to therapy. This is, I mean, honestly, like, it's a tough call. So let's just take it at face value.
If her am I the asshole is specifically just about the kids,
like
I understand why
about
she's
the kids, yes, but it's
I understand why she's confused about that.
Messy.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I think she was actually being a good sibling by like telling the sibling like what they need to hear of like, you need to fix your shit. You need to not be doing this, and I can't support you in you doing this thing to this other person because the sister's freaking manipulative.
I see. Here's the thing.
I agree.
The kid, the sister is clearly, I won't say the problem, but I will say a problem. The sister's a problem for sure. There's incredible amounts of unhealthy communication going on, but also like those are like little kids, 2, 3, and 5. Those are little kids. They have no clue, and they should be not made to deal with adult things. And like being left on the doorstep like that has got to be incredibly traumatic for them. That
should be illegal, right? Like that's child endangerment. That should be a thing.
Well, no. The mother was there. I mean, it's not like it's not.
Yeah, but like she's genuinely treating these kids as if they're just like someone's toys.
Property.
First of all. Like she's like I'm taking your iPad. Like bullshit.
Here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff going on apparently. Like there's so much the thing about the brother-in-law is very deep because there's a lot there that could be said about well, basically I would have let the kids in, and as soon as my sister left, I would have been calling Child Protective Services. I would have been like, this is not a suitable situation. We need to figure out what's going on. We're gonna hold on to these kids until you guys sort your shit out. Like there's clearly something dark happening that needs to be addressed for the sake of those little kids. Like that is fucked up.
No, but like little kids, and also like when someone's sick, like there's a thing that happens, sadly, fortunately, where sometimes the caregivers end up having a bit of a parentification, like over the person. And
do you think she's treating him like a kid?
Yeah, like she is. Like when he
Taking
upsets
his
her,
toy
she
away, yeah.
punishes him, and she punishes him by the thing that she thinks is most effective. Not her walking away, not her going anywhere, by taking his kids from him. Because notice it's not she doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She takes the kids from him because she knows that that's what's, and like her saying that, oh, that's what's helping seeing him the error of his ways. 100% the sister's right. Like he didn't see the error of his ways. He's just
Man, this
trying to see
man
the
is
kids.
sick. Like catheter, that means a tube in through his penis into his bladder.
Mhm.
A cannula, which means
Or he's not soaking nothing.
Is that yeah? He's soaked. He's like soakception. The
Steph, why would you teach me these things if you don't? If you don't,
I don't. I don't know.
I'm
Sometimes things come out of my mouth, and I'm like, why?
You know I'm gonna use these. Like, come on, you knew.
I know.
What's the oral version for that? Because that's got to be a problem too, right?
Halitosis.
Maybe that's how teabagging started.
Maybe that's what's like. You can't say I can't do anything because if I just open my mouth and you just like drop it in, and
dunk.
Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Just leave it there for a minute.
Yeah.
The Lord is okay with this. The Lord is okay with
this. Is if he didn't want us to do it, he would have wrote it explicitly to not put your balls.
Well, what they wrote
to the 10 Commandments of like,
right? What they wrote explicitly was like the seed should not hit the ground. It's like, yeah, but if I put it in a sock, that's not hitting the ground. You're fine.
Yes, right.
Touching the floor.
Yeah.
Yolanda says, "What a screwed up family."
Understatement. Yeah, that is a.
Tony says she's using the kids as a weapon.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's
true.
Yeah, ultimately, because I understand. Like, I feel really bad for the kids, but like, she's not the one. She's not the one doing it. Like I say, like I feel bad for the kids, but she's not the one who's doing the mental, like fucked up thing to the children. Like the mother was the one berating and saying, "You don't care, you don't do these." She's the one giving the message to these little children to take in, right in the age where they're forming like secure connections to people. Yeah. I'm like, this is gonna affect, like this is, you know, the point. This is the save point in the game. The changes,
yes,
like
yeah,
the course.
Like when you choose the light side or the dark side, you can't come back to this save point. You start down, you know, like a path.
Yeah.
I will say that they should, regardless of the situation, they should be calling like protective service or some like for the brother-in-law to make sure that he's being cared for properly. If he's that sick, do they have home health care or whatever? You know, like go. Yeah, the first comment here is not the asshole. Do not go and pick up the kids. Call Child Protective Services first.
That's what I said.
Yep. Before, yeah. You nailed it on the head. Sisters weaponizing the kids against him. Good call, Dad. Not the asshole. There's something deeply wrong with your family's dynamics here. That your dad is encouraging this bizarre. This is bizarre. It sounds like you need to lay down some firm boundaries with them. Yeah.
This
wait, hold on.
This is a family that you go, hey, I don't want them moving in with.
This is a comment from the poster. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're like, I don't want to be involved in that.
No. I don't want these people in my house.
This is a response from the OP that to the family dynamic. The dad is taking their side. Oh yeah, of course my dad is on her side. She's his favorite daughter. There, I said it bluntly. What can I possibly do to them? ? It's helpless, and they have been putting more pressure on me and side-eyeing me for allegedly siding with my brother-in-law. The man has enough to deal with and doesn't need these pathetic games my sister keeps playing. So there's that. The family is clearly enabling this.
Yeah. And it's not even like she's not even siding necessarily with the brother-in-law. She's siding with the fact that this action isn't correct.
Right.
Like it's the action that the sister's taking, not whether or not the sister's upset at what the brother-in-law said or like the fight itself. It's like no matter what. It's the thing I always say, like it doesn't matter how right you are in an argument. If you do something wrong, you're just wrong. Like in retaliation, like you've already lost your point.
Yeah, that happened at work a couple days ago where like I called somebody out on something, like where I'm like, hey, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. And then I was like, you need to do it this way, this way, this way, this way. And they got mad. And I was like, wait. Do you think I'm wrong, or are you mad that I corrected you? Because those are two very different things. Because I was like, you know what I mean? Like, are you mad that I called you out on something and didn't let you get away with cutting corners? Or are you saying that I'm wrong? Because we can one of those we can solve right away. You know what I mean? Like one of those we can go look at the fucking policies and all that stuff. But
No,
if you're
the
just
other one you
mad,
can solve right away. If you're mad that I called you out on something, even though you know I'm
Mhm.
doing it right, we can solve that right now. Go fuck yourself.
yeah. We can solve that right now with these hands.
With
You know
these
what I mean?
hands.
Like, yeah. Catch these hands.
Catch
I've
these
been
hands.
watching kick flicks a lot. Kick flicks. Ka-cha. No, but yeah, like it's like what like just you being upset doesn't negate the thing you did wrong. You know what I mean? Like that kind of in an argument where it's like, well, you were rude when you reprimanded me. It's like, okay, so we're admitting you're wrong. Okay, so now we've you know, like that kind of thing where it's like you can't just erase the wrong by getting upset, you know. But I feel like that's projecting, I think. Maybe in this particular case, I mean, those kids are so young. I feel like sad.
Feel
It's a
bad
sad
for those
one.
kids, yeah.
Is Missy coming back? Is Missy not?
I don't think so. I sent her a text message and she hasn't read it. So
Yeah, she had messaged ages ago saying that the internet went down, but I haven't heard from her.
yeah, I
since, so.
replied to that afterwards to her directly and didn't get anywhere. So, but we're already done, man. We're done.
We're good.
This is it was a good tag team effort on her part of mine. I had to go see to something, and right when I came back, I saw her on the screen, and then she
tagged out.
Tagged out.
Oh no, he's coming back. Boom! My internet's down.
I can't take this. Thank you guys for checking us out, man. Check out the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network. Check out Pero Let Me Tell You. Check out the Kickflix podcast that Mike and I are on, along with Missy sometimes, and along with Jeff, who's also on the Crimecopia.
Crimacopia.
Crimacopia. I'm sorry, Crimacopia. I apologize. I learned what a copia is through their logo. So Crimacopia, I was like, oh, that thing that the pilgrims use, right? That thing for
cornucopia, yes.
It's a cornucopia, yeah.
Yeah, I learned what that was from their logo. So Crimacopia, whose first episode was just released today. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you have a couple episodes to catch up on. And then the What's Up Bro podcast, Among Geekmore podcast, which this week's episode was so much fun. Fucking Geekmores, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
We had Mike and his friend Stein, who's great on there. So make sure you guys check out that episode. And Chow Like at Best with Mike Valdez, as well as the Shiver podcast and the Mamas and Merlot podcast is coming back at some point. So just be ready for that. So yeah. Go to geekbro.net, check that out. Follow us on all the social medias. If you are following me or you think you're following me on Instagram, you're probably not anymore. So go to my new Instagram, which is Nery Comic, which I feel like should have been my name to begin with, my handle to begin with, because I feel it's so much easier, which is Nery Comic, and then start liking, appreciate you there. And Stephanie's is hello_ my dear Watson, and Mike's is at Mike Mercadal, man. He's got the winner.
If can you do you remember what the Kickflix movies were that had to watch?
Yes,
Spun the Wheel.
We spun the wheel. I know one of them was Ninja Assassin. That was the second one, and the first one was I forgot the year, but the classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, Street Fighter.
Oh, right.
So those are the two movies.
Street Fighter. And
Have you added Bloodsport to your wheel? Okay.
It's been on there since the beginning.
That was literally my first pick. I was like,
that was been there. Oh my god.
Here's a thing for Kickflix. Mike, do you think that the movie? Mike says that the movie with the gentleman, what should we call it?
Kingsman
is not a martial arts movie.
Right?
They have a lot of martial arts fighting. They have a lot of martial arts fighting.
Right, but it's more gun fighting and the killing.
There's hand-to-hand combat, and sure, there's a laser lasso.
Is.
Sure, there's a laser lasso, but there's also hand-to-hand combat.
God, I would usually just categorize that as an action movie, but it depends. Are you ever going to put things like the Expendables in there?
No, I don't think the Expendables should be on there. If the Expendables aren't on there, Kingsman isn't on there.
I don't think those two go hand in hand, because Expendables uses way more guns than Kingsman does.
Okay, here's the question: would you ever put the Matrix?
He did. Mike
did
did put the Matrix
Okay,
on.
well, if you put
But
the
there is a
Matrix,
kung fu. There's a whole thing about I know kung fu and training and fighting martial arts, and there's a whole martial arts section, and there's like a whole there's a whole training montage, a whole training scene.
so wait, so
For one
you have
scene,
to
so
have
you're
the
putting a movie
definition.
for
The
one
definition
scene?
is at what point do you change from like, oh, here's martial arts and here's just stage combat? Like, where is that cutoff?
That's a valid point. That's a fair point.
That's
All right.
You're gonna have to give
So
yourself that
make
rule.
sure you check out Kick Flicks and all the other podcasts on the Geek Bro Network. We appreciate that. Geekbro.net. Check that out. We got a bunch of merch. Go to our Instagrams and check out our links. All the links are in the bio for everything, for the YouTube channels, for everything. So thank you guys for checking us out. That's how winning is done.